Hello you beautiful people, and welcome back to another video. I've made no secret that I'm a Gen 2er all the way, and today we're heading back to the best region trying to hardcore Nuzlocke it, with probably the worst type of Pokemon in the game. Bugs. Honestly, there isn't a shortage of bug type Pokemon in this region, but I'm gonna let you in on something that might, but probably won't surprise you. Most of them suck. They may evolve earlier than most other types, which is fine early game, but later on when power creep punches us right in the gut, you'll find they're lacking in the power department. If you're new here and never heard of a Nuzlocke before, I'll have a quick rundown of the rules on screen. I'll also have a full list in the description below. One last thing, if you're new here and end up enjoying the video, please like and subscribe, or Arceus will rain judgment upon me. And with that out of the way, let's begin. First things first, we gotta pick our starter, which we're not gonna be keeping for very long. I pick Tetacool just because it's my favorite. I run to Mr. Pokemon's house, fight this guy still in Totodile, and head back to the lab where I get 5 Pokeballs, officially beginning the Nuzlocke. I rush over to Route 30 where I quickly come across a Weedle. I catch her and call her Anna. After boxing my Tetacool, it is nighttime, which is perfect for my next encounter. Spinarak on Route 31. You can only find this Pokemon at night, so I purposely set the time for around 5:40, so I can get either a Weedle or Caterpie during the day, and then get a Spinarak at night. Once I've caught it, I call him Uno, and now it's time to shut off the game for a bit. My next encounter is at Route 36, where I come across a Ladybug. And you guessed it, you can only find this Pokemon in the morning. I swear I'm going to be spending more time waiting for the sun to rise than I will be playing this game. Once I've caught Ladybug, I dub her Angels. After climbing Sprout Tower to get the HM for Flash, I head to the gym where I come across my first roadblock. Bird Keeper Abe. Not even the gym leader. He has a level 9 Spearow that knows Peck, and he will always use that move against my bugs. I leave with Ladybug, as it'll play a big role for both these battles. I have it use Supersonic, which in itself is not the greatest move in the world. Confusion is great, when I can get it, but Supersonic only has an accuracy of 55. Essentially it'd be a coin flip chance of whether it lands or not. But then there's still part 2, Flash, which I got at Sprout Tower. I can't use it outside of battle yet, but in battle, it's fair game. But like Supersonic, its accuracy isn't the best, being 70. I'm sure you're putting the pieces together. There's going to be a lot of RNG involved to get through this gym. Once I'm able to get Spearow's accuracy low enough, I can switch in Kakuna, and then start going for Harden. As long as it misses, I can keep building my stats. I also gave everyone in my party a berry to hold for recovery. Once I'm bulky enough, or we've eaten our berry, I have Kakuna use Poison Sting, hoping for poison. If Kakuna's health gets into the danger zone, I switch in Spinarak while Poison does its job. It did take me a few attempts to defeat Abe, and thankfully, the second trainer isn't an issue. However, I cannot say the same for Falkner. I'm pretty much using the same plan I had against Abe. Thankfully, Falkner's Pidgey is easier to set up on as it only knows Mud Slap and Tackle, and Ladybug is immune to Mud Slap. I still need to get lucky on the coin flip to get Confusion off. Then I needed to last for a few more turns to let Flash do its thing. Once that's all set, I switch in Kakuna and max out its defense of Harden, while Pidgey tackles in vain, mostly. With its defense maxed out, I can go on the offensive. With this strategy, I can handle Pidgey, but that's just the warm-up. The real issue is Pidgeotto. Unlike its pre-evolution, it knows a flying type attack in Gust. And without any stat buffs, Gust could easily wipe my team. Which is how most of these attempts go. Which leads me to my second problem. My team consists of 3 Pokemon that can only be caught during 3 different times of the day. Ladybug in the morning, Caterpie or Kakuna in the afternoon, and Spinarak at night. Eventually I just Google searched how to change the time in game and did it that way to save me some precious time, because I would have been here for weeks otherwise. Thank you, Google. Normally I'm against hacking in the game, but if I didn't do it like this, I'd still be playing it right now. I'm only doing this to speed up the process and to save my sanity, and because YouTube doesn't like it when I take more than a month to upload a video. But all the time saving in the world isn't going to help me against Falkner's Pidgeotto. I make sure to train out my Pokemon until they're at the top end of level 9. Once all 3 Pokemon have switched in, they'll gain enough EXP to grow to level 10. I can't go into a gym battle overpowered, but if they come over level during the battle, that's fine. With Kakuna at level 10 and max defense, it takes 5 points of damage from Gust. I prefer to have Kakuna over Metapod so I have more chances to get off poison, as Spinarak will fall to a couple of Gusts. I was getting nervous leaving Kakuna as long as I did, as I know a crit would destroy us, and just when it came to the point I knew I'd have to switch out, Pidgeotto gets poisoned. With the poison finally off, I switched in Ladybug, pretty much to die. But to my shock, We're faster, land flash, and Gus misses us. I get another flash in, and Gut misses yet again. I go for a third, that sadly misses. Gus doesn't miss us, however, and Ladybot falls. I send out Spinarak. Gus again misses, and thanks to the chip damage from Poison and Poison Sting, Pidgeotto falls, and I win my first badge. Getting past A and Falconer took me 19 attempts. If I wipe after this, I'm ending the video. I am not doing all that again. Due to most of the trainers in Union Cave having either rock or fire type Pokemon, I try to avoid as many as possible. Once I make it to Azalea Town, I make a beeline, pun not intended, to Helix Forest to get my next encounter. It'll be blocked off by my rival once I feed all the Rocket Grunts and Slowpoke well, so I figure it'd be best to get my encounter first before challenging the Rocket Grunts. Once inside, I run into a Paris. I had a mild panic attack as it breaks free from not one, not three, but 2 Great Balls. Despite being poisoned, I do catch it on my 3rd attempt and call it J. After taking care of Team Rocket, I challenge Bugsy. I start with Beedrill and he leaves with Metapod. The perfect Pokemon to set up on. It still knows Harden from its Kakuna days, which I use to buff up its defense to the max. With its defense maxed out, Tackle only deals 1 point of damage to us. I did give Beedrill a berry just in case crits happen. Then I use Focus Energy to increase my crit rate. Crits also bypass stat boosts, so that'll help me out take out his Metapod that much faster. After a ton of Poison Stings and Fury attacks, Metapod eventually falls, and it's a similar story with Bugsy's Kakuna, leaving him with just Scyther. Fury Cutter pretty much bounces off of Beedrill at the start, but with Fury Cutter getting stronger with each consecutive hit, that could easily change, especially if it crits. Luckily, Beedrill manages to poison Scyther, and by the time Fury Cutter can start dealing some serious damage, Scyther falls to poison, winning me my 2nd badge. Before moving on to the next city, I need to face my rival. Thanks to training Spinarak to level 17, it learned a move that'll help me against his Ghastly, Nightshade. If it wasn't for that, I had to rely on Poison Sting, but I don't, and 2 Nightshades easily takes out Ghastly, and we thankfully avoid paralysis from Lick. I kept Spinarak in for Zubat, but he doesn't last very long after hitting himself in confusion a couple of times. He did manage to get some damage in, but we have to switch out. Paris is able to pick out where Spinarak left off, and after a few scratch attacks, and almost falling to a Leech Life, she knocks out Zubat. When Croconaw comes out, I switch in Beedrill. I have Beedrill use Poison Sting and hope that I'll eventually poison Croconaw. My rival did manage to force Beedrill to eat its berry, and when I was about to lose hope, Croconaw finally gets poisoned. Thanks to poison plus a crit Fury attack, Beedrill is able to finish off Croconaw, getting us the win. After passing through Helix Forest, I head up to Route 35 for my next encounter. I make sure to go in the morning so I get the encounter I want. A Yanma. If I'd done this at night, there's a chance I could have gone a Venonat. And since Yanma only has a 1% encounter rate, I didn't want to try those odds. After wandering around for a bit, I eventually run into one, and catch it. She shall be -1. Yanma isn't the most OP Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination, but it does learn an important move, Headbutt, which I can use on trees to get even more Pokemon, a couple of which are Headbutt exclusive, and I'm heading back to Azalea to get one of these Pokemon. Without worrying about concussion protocols, I eventually find a Heracross, aka the best bug Pokemon in Generation 2. I'll have to work quick as Heracross has a chance of fleeing, which would be an encounter killer. I quickly get it down to the red and throw a Great Ball. And I catch it on my first attempt. You shall be Grayson. After growing my team to level 20, I head back to Goldenrod to face off against Whitney. I was worried about Miltake's rollout as I thought my Pokemon are quad weak to it, but I had a plan. Whitney leaves with Clefairy, so I start with Paris to get the paralysis. Once paralyzed, I switch in Beedrill, and do the exact same thing I did with Bugsy. Use Harden to raise my defense to the max, and then use Focus Energy to increase my crit rate. With my defense to the max, besides a crit, there is nothing Clefairy can do to hurt. Oh, thank Arceus that missed. We were also getting lucky with the paralysis, causing Clefairy to miss quite a few turns. Once Beedrill is finished setting up, he takes out Clefairy with Twin Needle. Now comes the real challenge, Miltank. Rollout hits, dealing 5 points of damage. Twin Needle does about a third to Miltank. A second rollout misses us. As Twin Needle does another third, and poisons Miltank. A third rollout hits us, dealing another 5 points of damage, and thanks to the assist from Poison, we're able to take out Miltank with another Twin Needle, getting me my 3rd badge. It's Tuesday! You know what that means! It's time for the bug catching competition! This is a great chance to get some strong bug-type Pokemon that can only be caught during this time. With so many options like Pinsir and Scyther, there's no telling what I might encounter. Okay, you're crap. And we're moving on. Up next is another go against my rival. Paris is able to take out Haunter with Dig, but was cursed in the process. When Zubat comes out, I switch in Yama, who takes out with a pair of headbutts. Magnemite is out next, and I bring Paris back into battle. Paris is able to one-shot Magnemite with Dig. Last out is Croconaw. I keep Paris in to get the paralysis. After that's been set up, I send in Heracross. A few horn attacks later, Heracross knocks out Croconaw, winning me the bout. Right after that, we have our battle against Morty. My recently evolved Parasect takes out his Ghastly after a dig, but was cursed in the process. I'm having an odd sense of deja vu right now. Out comes Morty's first Haunter, who also falls to a single dig attack. When Gengar comes out, I switch in Ariados. He's able to get a Nightshade in before being put to sleep with Hypnosis. Knowing Gengar knew Dream Eater, I switch out Ariados for Beedrill. He's able to get a couple of Twin Needles off before he's put to sleep. Time to switch out again. Butterfree's turn, who is immediately killed by Shadow Ball. A moment of silence for Butterfree, and we're moving on. I send Parasect back out, who takes out Gengar with Dig. Now it's down to his last Haunter. I have Parasect use Dig again as Nightshade misses us. Dig lands, and Haunter lives on like 1 health. Knowing Parasect will fall to a Nightshade, I switch him out for Ariados, hoping he'll wake up. He doesn't, forcing me to switch out to Beedrill, who does wake up and takes out Haunter with Twin Needle, winning us our 4th badge. I travel across the sea to get to Cinnawood, but before I challenge Chuck, I can get my next Mon. This green-haired guy gives me a Shuckle. I can't nickname this Pokemon as it's a loner, but let's just say we're gonna be lent this Pokemon permanently. With our new partner in my pocket, I challenge Chuck. Heracross uses Strength on Primate, bringing it down to the red. It answers back with Leer, but misses. One more attack takes out Primate, leaving just Poliwrath. Strength does about a third to it, while Surf deals about a quarter to us. As long as we don't get crit, we'll win. And we thankfully don't get crit, easily obtaining our 5th badge. While I was heading up to the Lake of Rage, I come across a Venonat. I easily catch it and call him Alex. I then meet up with Lance in Stormteam Rocket's hideout. I'm going to be facing Price next because for some reason, the devs at Game Freak thought the 7th gym leader should be weaker than the 6th. Price's strongest Pokemon's at level 31, and Jasmine's at level 35. They both have 3 Pokemon, so I have no idea why they did it this way. Anyway, after avoiding as many grunts as possible, I challenge Price. There isn't a lot to say here. Heracross is easily able to swipe Price's entire team. Yes, it was annoying when Price popped a Hyper Potion, and yes, Heracross was down to the red by the end, but it was still a near perfect sweep, getting me my 6th badge. After a quick grinding session, I head back to Olivine and challenge Jasmine. A single dig from Parasect takes out her first Magnemite. Then to my surprise, she brings out Steelix next. But I had a plan. I used Spore to put it to sleep, and then get to work by attacking it with Dig. But with Steelix's bulk, it hardly puts a dent in it, despite it being super effective. Not only that, we'll get 2-shot by Iron Tail. And on top of all that, Jasmine will use a Hyper Potion if Steelix's health gets too low. It was a long, drawn-out battle, but Steelix eventually falls after countless digs. That just leaves Jasmine's last Magnemite, but Parasect only had 1 PP left for Dig. But 1 is all we need, as Parasect one-shots Jasmine's 2nd Magnemite, getting me my 7th badge. After that, I literally spent the next 90 minutes headbutting trees looking for a Pineco. You can only find them via tree headbutt, but they're only on high encounter trees. Where the high encounter trees are depends on the last number of your trainer ID. There's a bunch of math involved using X and Y axis, multiplying that and dividing that by the last number of your trainer number, which then you can use to find the high encounter tree to get the Pokemon you want. But I suck at math, so I went the strategy of ignoring concussion protocols again and headbutting every tree in sight. Multiple times. After 90 minutes of nothing but spiders, owls, and ladybugs, I rage quit, cut my losses, and moved on to Route 37, where I figured I'd try a couple more trees. And yep, found one, caught one, calling you Paige. Luckily, I get to take out my pent-up rage against some helpless rocket grunts. Once I'm done with that, I continue my reign of terror against my rival. Fortress does decent damage with strength, but gets confused. After losing 3 turns in a row to confusion, I realize I have to switch out, or risk losing one of my bulkiest Pokemon. Knowing none of my other Pokemon would be able to take a wing attack, I realized I'd most likely be sending one of my partners to die. I went with Yanma, who eats a wing attack, living with about a third of its health left. I went for Headbutt, which crits, but Golbat lives it, and the move sadly doesn't flinch it either. One more wing attack puts Yanma in the grave. I send out Heracross, who avenges his fallen comrade. Then my rival sends out Haunter, and I can't keep Heracross in because he only knows normal type attacks. So I send in Parasect, who gets a nasty look, and Cursed. But that's okay, as Dig takes out Haunter as well as Magnemite. With the curse damage piling up, I send Heracross back out for another go. He makes easy work of Sneasel as well as for Alligator. I knew Heracross had some bulk to its name, but I was surprised how little damage those two did to it. After defeating a few more rocket grunts with ease, I head on to Blackthorn City and face Claire. I lead with Parasect for her first of 3 Dragonairs. Parasect is paralyzed early on, but that's fine. Parasect lands a Spore, and I switch it out for Heracross, who was able to take out Claire's 3 Dragonairs with little issue. Yeah, he did get paralyzed, but I got lucky how many times Quick Claw activated, making paralysis useless. That just leaves Kingdra. Heracross would have been able to take out Kingdra with ease as well, but then she used a Hyper Potion like the coward she is. With Heracross's HP dangerously low, I switch him out for Beedrill. He takes a Hyper Beam, leaving me just a little under half health. I use Twin Needle, and it looks to be a 2-hit KO with Kingdra's remaining health. I go for a second one, and it just hangs on. In hindsight, I should have switched out for Fortress. One more Hyper Beam wipes out Beedrill, and I switch in Ariados who finishes off Kingdra, awarding me my 8th badge. I realize I'll need to catch a Pokemon to get past the waterfalls in Tojo Falls. Normally, I wouldn't talk about stuff like this, but while fishing, I came across a shiny Tetacool, which is a first for me since I've done these challenges, so that was exciting. I also held off avoiding Venonat until level 41, because at level 41, it learned Psychic. If I had evolved it earlier, I would have had to wait until level 53. I train my team to level 47 and head for the Indigo Plateau, but first, my rival wants a piece of me. Not really much to talk about here. Fortress takes care of Sneasel with ease. Golbat uses Confuse Ray on us, making me hit myself multiple times. Fortress gets Golbat down to the yellow, and then I switch him out for Ariados, who finishes it off with Nightshade. And despite Heracross getting paralyzed and cursed, he managed to sweep the rest of my rival's team, with its health somehow still in the yellow. And with that out of the way, it's time for the elites. First up is the Psychic Trainer, Will. He starts with Xatu and I Fortress. Strength is an easy 2-hit KO, while Psychic does more than I thought it would, but still nothing to worry about unless I get a special drop. His first Xatu goes down. His second Xatu goes for Confuse Ray, and as history shown, that Fortress, or anyone on my team for that matter, does not like confusion, and it never goes well for me. This time is no different, as it hits itself 2 turns in a row. Fortress also gets a special drop from Psychic. With its health nearing the red, I switch in Parasect, but he too gets confused sadly. But I need to get a Spore off to kick my plan into action. I thankfully hit a Spore on my next turn, and then switch him out for Heracross, who finishes off Xatu after a few strengths, despite Will using a Max Potion to try and heal his Mon. Jinx is out now, and she falls to a single Earthquake. Executor comes out, as Strength puts it down to about half. It goes for Leech Seed, and Heracross is able to evade. Executor goes down to a second Strength. Now it's just Slowbro. If it actually tried to attack us instead of worrying about stats, I might have been worried. But not once does Slowbro try to attack me, and it goes down after a few Earthquakes. And yes, I know Heracross is overleveled now, but let me remind you, you can't go into the Elite overleveled, but if I level up during the battle itself, it's fine. Now it's Koga's turn to try and stop me. Fortress takes the lead again by quickly taking out Koga's Ariados after a couple of strengths. Out next is Venonat, who lowers our special defense with Psychic sadly. On its next turn, it goes for Supersonic, which misses. Strength takes it down to about half. Another supersonic attempt. And another miss, thankfully. One more Strength takes out Venomoth. When Koga sends out his own Fortress, I switch in Heracross, who takes it out after 3 rounds of Earthquake. Crobat's out now, and Heracross isn't staying in for that. I send Fortress back out and get it rolling with Rollout. And despite Crobat using Double Team, Rollout hits 3 turns in a row, taking out Crobat. And Muck falls to a single Rollout. We're halfway home. Third out is Bruno. This time, I lead with Venomoth, and this is the main reason why I waited so long to evolve it. Psychic easily 2-shots Bruno's Hitmontop, Hitmonchan, and Machamp, and it 1-shotted Onix. I did get a little nervous as Rock Slide from Machamp almost took out Venomoth, but other than that little scare, no issues. As for Hitmonlee, I sent out Parasect. The only thing to note here is that whenever I digged, Hitmonlee would use High Jump Kick, hurting itself for some reason. That is, if you want to call 1 point of damage hurting yourself. Besides that odd quirk, Parasect easily takes out Hitmonlee. Last up is Karen. I figured Parasect could leech life his way through this, but then Umbreon used Confuse Ray, and my team really doesn't like being confused. I switch in Fortress, who takes out Umbreon with Strength. When Houndoom enters, I swap Fortress for Shuckle. It gets a Mud Slap off before being roared off the field. Bringing Fortress back into battle, I immediately switch it out for Shuckle. Shuckle gets another Mud Slap off, and Houndoom uses Roar again. This time, Ariados comes in. Flamethrower misses us thanks to the accuracy drop, and we land a Nightshade. Karen heals up Houndoom as I keep spamming Nightshade. Flamethrower misses us again, giving Ariados another free attack. Flamethrower misses for a 3rd time, and one more Nightshade takes out Houndoom. Vileplume's out, and I switch in Heracross. He takes out Vileplume with Strength, Gengar with Earthquake, and Murkrow with Strength. And just like that, we've defeated the Elite Four. Now all that's left is the champion, Lance. This is going to be a tough one. Lance's team's entirely made up of flying types, despite being a Dragon Master, and my Pokemon don't know any moves that can hit them super hard. He leads with Gyarados, and I lead with Parasect. Gyarados gets a Rain Dance off, and I have Parasect use Spore, putting it to sleep. I switch in Fortress, hoping to get a rollout combo going before it wakes up. But Gyarados wakes up on turn 2, allowing a Surf as Fortress gets rolling. We're only able to get a couple of hits in before Fortress falls to Surf. Damn. Heracross comes out and finishes off Gyarados. Aerodactyl comes out next, and I switch in Ariados. Wing Attack does a little under half on the switch. I figured it'd be best to use Flash to lower its accuracy. I think I made the right call with Flash as Aerodactyl's next attack misses, and we land with a Nightshade. Aerodactyl's next attack doesn't miss, unfortunately, and Ariados is killed. I switch in Parasect, who loses a Wing Attack on 8 HP, and lands a Spore. I switch it out for Venomoth, and again, Sleep only lasts for 1 turn as Venomoth is nailed with Rock Slide. We answer back with Psychic, but it hangs on. Venomoth falls to another Rock Slide. It's not looking good here. I had to take a chance. I send out Parasect. Wing Attack misses, and we land another Spore. I then switch in Heracross, and again, Sleep only lasts for 1 turn. It uses Wing Attack, and it misses. Strength takes out Aerodactyl. Out comes Charizard. Heracross deals half to it with Strength, as we just live a Wing Attack. I have Heracross use Strength again, and it lives on 1 health. Heracross falls. Shuckle is able to take out Charizard, despite me misclicking the first time. Now we just gotta deal with Lance's 3 Dragonites. The first and strongest comes out, and lands an Outrage. I go for Bide, hoping confusion will set in before I fall. Once the cycle is over, Shuckle has 6 HP remaining. If Dragonite hits itself, I can take it out. But it doesn't, and Shuckle is gone now too. And yeah, the writing's on the wall here. There is no way a Parasect with only 11 health remaining is going to take out 3 Dragonites. You guessed it, I wiped. And no, I am not doing this again. It took me 19 attempts to get past the first gym, and I don't want to go through all that again just to fall to Lance. It's ironic. My biggest obstacle at the start of the game was birds, and flying type Pokemon's what ended this challenge. Bug Pokemon really aren't optimal for this generation. Is it possible to beat this game with bug type Pokemon? Probably, with enough RNG, but I'll leave that task with someone with more patience and more free time than I. I'm putting the Game Boy down. My name is Jeffrey Yuri. It really bugs me that I couldn't beat this challenge, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.